True understandings require some measure of science and the willingness to seek information when making decisions. Our presence here today, whether you are aware of it or not, is to inspire and create a tsunami of scientists, physicians, researchers globally focused on doing pranic healing research. Number one, we establish a research culture. What is a culture? A group of researchers. This can be done by encouraging scientists to conduct pranic healing research and support research efforts. I also believe that the initial researches will require incentives, financial and non-financial, to encourage researchers to create a line of research in certain fields and ultimately create a scientific momentum. The pranic healing research and development to support this through funds, through grants, through advice, assistance, and resources. Number two, organize formal scientific exchanges. There is a plan to create a comprehensive series of symposia, educational workshops, lectures, and informal sessions locally and globally involving a large number of international pranic healing experts or even non-pranic healing experts to contribute to the research. These programs will include annual forums, conferences, and presentations highlighting the results of applied research and the lessons learned that will allow us, all of us, for an exchange of experiences among various facets of pranic healing. I'm very proud and honored to share research studies, clinical practices, and educational applications that have proven to be successful in improving health and clinical outcomes such as pain relief, decreasing the length of hospital stay, decreased blood loss during surgery, improving outcomes related to smoking addiction, and in the treatment of obesity and more. Emerging studies demonstrate that pranic healing, particularly meditation and twin hearts, affects psychosocial and emotional outcomes, such as decreasing stress levels, increasing happiness, and quantitative measure using EEG or brain waves has been demonstrated and will be shown to you to have a positive relationship and efficacy with the practice of meditation and twin hearts. Today, you will also hear about the impact of pranic healing in hospital, educational, and medical practice settings. These studies were aimed at understanding pranic healing's impact on learning in students at all levels, including elementary school, high school, university, and even postdoctorate areas, particularly with the incorporation of super brain yoga. It also shows that pranic healing has presence in hospital environment as exhibited by its application by doctors and nurses among you. Research studies have also demonstrated the benefits of pranic healing when applied to the environment, particularly the agricultural sector.
Today we're going to present the results that we got from studying the meditation on twin hearts to novice meditators, people who have never meditated before or just a little bit, and experienced meditators. Jeff is going to present the brain results. I'm going to present more the emotional conclusions, and then there was Wayne Blind, who did most of the statistical analysis, and he's not the research just started. We gathered 12 people who have never meditated before or had a little bit of meditation but almost nothing. We had 5 males, 7 females from people from all over the world, and then we had 12 people, arhatic yogis, who have been practicing twin hearts for a long time, at least 1,000 hours, and a little bit more females there, but it was quite balanced. And then in order to measure the emotional changes during the practice, we gave 2 surveys, before and after the twin hearts meditation, one to measure the changes in the mood, and another one to assess the changes in anxiety. In order to see more the differences between the novice group and the experienced group, we gathered some data, some questionnaires just before doing the twin hearts meditation in terms of the ability to focus, the ability to cope difficult situations, their mindfulness, anxiety states, and then some basic demographics and background information in terms of how much do they practice, arhatic yoga levels, and so on. In order to assess the changes in the brain activity, we use the P300 test before and after the Twin Hearts meditation. At the end, Q&A at the end. Thank you. This P300 test measured the brain activity response as well as the muscle response. Jeff is going to go over that at the end. And we put the CAP, the EEG, electroencephalogram technology in the brain, in the surface, the head. And we recorded 5 minutes baseline before the meditation, during the whole meditation, and at the end of the meditation, another 5 minutes baseline, so that we were able to compare. And then the interesting results, we posed 6 hypotheses. The first one, we wanted to see if the experienced meditators will show lower baseline levels of anxiety, depression, and higher baseline levels in terms of coping, self-efficacy, and mindfulness. And the first result is that experienced meditators show substantial, statistically significant lower levels of anxiety, just as a group, 23.9 for the experienced, and is that the pointer here? And 35 for the novice. So we are doing well. If we keep practicing Hatha Yoga, the anxiety levels in general is going to keep going down. Then in terms of the mood, here we have like the darker line. This is the experienced meditators. These are the novice ones. And we see that in terms of the more positive emotions like happiness, more calm, and more vigor, the experienced meditators showed higher levels in general. And they were significant, at least these two. And in terms of anger or more tension and confusion, the baseline was low for all of them, but a little bit for the experience, they had less tension in general than the novice meditators. In terms of the coping self-efficacy, that means when we face difficult situations, how able we are to overcome them in a smooth way. We can see that the experienced we can see that the experienced meditators, again, it's more the darker red, they had higher levels of ability to focus on the moment and not get lost in the emotional body, I guess, and overcome the situation. And they had higher levels of being able to stop the unpleasant thoughts and focus again, and I get this goes together, and move forward. And interestingly enough, in terms of gathering support from family and friends, both groups had more or less the same ability. So at least at the close group, that was okay. And in terms of mindfulness and the attentional function, there were no statistically significant differences in both groups. That's important also to share, not just the good things, but here it was more significant, so that's what it is. And then in terms of happiness, anxiety, we see that in all groups, if we look at all together, this is before and after the meditation. Now we look at the effects of the meditation on Twin Hearts. We see that for all together, the anxiety went down of all 24 meditators. And for the novice, at the beginning, the level of anxiety was around 35, and it went down to more or less 26. So Twin Hearts, don't know, but now we can prove, reduces the anxiety level, even if you just practice it once in your life. And here, in terms of happiness, everybody, the 24, showed higher levels of happiness after the meditation. And for the novice as well, initially it was 10 more or less, and it moved to 12.5 or something like that.
Okay, so my name is Lauren Khalifa. Buenos dias,
Closer,
Colombia.
closer.
And
Me llamo es Linda. ¿Cómo está?
oh, now we're English. The effect of pranic healing, like Master Glenn said, in the ED, a randomized controlled study. St. Joseph's Medical Center is a 651-bed hospital. We're ranked as one of the 100 best places to work in healthcare. Also, we're the largest charity care provider in the state, as well as a 4th Designation Magnet Award winner for innovative nursing. Our emergency department sees roughly 450 patients a day, a total of 165,000 a year, I believe. We have a geriatric specialized ED unit. That's where our study took place. And
Purpose of our study is to evaluate the role of pranic healing in pain management in the emergency department. The hypothesis is pain medication in conjunction with pranic healing may have a better effect on pain relief when compared to pain medication alone. The pilot study was done in 2013 by Lauren and I. We had 144 patients in the emergency department with pain, stress, or anxiety. It was treated with pranic healing over an 8-month period. The results of our data was pain scores, stress, and anxiety were significantly decreased. It's statistically significant reduction in symptoms with a p-value of less than 0.01. And we used the Likert scale of 0 to 10. The results of our study, we had a total of 47 patients. The control group was 18 patients, and these patients received pain medication alone. The experimental group, the patients received pain medication and pranic healing, and that group was 29 patients. The post-intervention pain was assessed by nursing staff not involved in our study, which decreases the bias. So our results were statistically analyzed using the chi-square test. We also used the t-test, and statistical significance set at p-value of less than 0.05.
Okay, the demographics, we had the average age of the patient was 70 years old, and the ethnicity mostly was Hispanic. So as you can see by the bar graph here, the control group 8.6, and after pain medication relieved to 7.8. The experimental group, the pain at mean was 8.9, and after medication and pranic healing went down to, that's 3.0. We made a correction on there. That was and in the heart rate, as we said, it did go lower, but it wasn't significant, scientifically significant. Same as the respiratory rate and systolic and diastolic blood pressure. We did this, I'm sorry. Next slide, please.
This study is a randomized controlled prospective study. The pain scale assessment was done by nurses not related to pranic healing, so just the emergency room nurse taking care of the patient assessed their pain scales after the healing, and the only 2 people doing the study was Lauren and I. The conclusion.
Pranic healing with pain medication significantly reduced pain in the patient population. Pranic healing is a safe and healing modality, and a collaborative of multi-center trial is warranted. Also, we recognize that a 3rd arm should be added to this study with just pranic healing alone, because especially with the geriatric population, because of their comorbidities, medications, and just maybe sometimes fear of reactions to it, they're refusing pain medications, or they're not ordered. So we have like 12. We started collecting information on that, not that it's part of this study, but we have like 12 patients.
We have different aspects of pranic healing. So visualize when you are meditating, fast forward 5-10 years from now, where every big company could have a meditation on Twin Hearts in the morning. Visualize 10 years, 10 years from now, wherein children will be incorporated to do super brain yoga in schools. Fast forward 5, 10 years from now, pranic healing is part of the medical system. Fast forward 5, 10 years from now, the government, the medical field, the nursing field, the science recognize pranic healing. Then Master's vision of spreading the work into the family will start to move. This is just the start. This is the future of pranic healing research. We start now. And I ask you, since you have come here with the energy and enthusiasm to serve the work, I'd ask you to contribute your talents, your treasures, your time.